Everybody, I'm Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling, and welcome to Lessons with Larry. I'm going to teach you something that's a little off the beaten path. I'm going to tell you that you should almost, because there's never an absolute, but you should almost never buy a house in your IRA. What? I went to this real estate investment seminar and they told me I should buy a house in my IRA. I'm going to tell you something you should do instead. Watch this. So if I have an IRA, and I don't know, let's say the IRA has, $300,000 in it, whatever, okay? And you learned how to self-direct your IRA, you learned how to buy houses in your IRA, you learned how to move the money into a self-directed IRA plan like something like Counter Plan, which is a plan that we use, and you learned how to do this, and then they said you should buy houses in the IRA. Fine. Watch this. Instead of buying a house in an IRA, this is what I want you to do. I want you to lend the money to a real estate investor. Now, if you haven't already seen my video on how to lend money to a real estate investor, go back and watch that also. But this is what I want you to do. I want you to lend this money to a real estate investor instead. So I'm going to take this $300,000 and I want you to lend it to a real estate investor, and you can probably lend that money to somebody at 8%-ish. And you can make some great money, and we talk about that in a video. It's a great video. But we've now taken this money and we lent it to a real estate investor. Remember I said don't buy a house in your IRA? I still want you to buy a house, but I don't want you to buy it inside your IRA. I want you to buy it outside your IRA. But you just lent your $300,000 to somebody. What are you going to do? I want you to go borrow $300,000 from somebody else's IRA. And if you borrow that $300,000 from somebody else's IRA, this house is now outside your IRA. This money was lent to another investor. This money was lent to you or this house. And again, let's say it's $300,000 and you borrowed from somebody else's IRA, right? You borrowed their money to buy this house. Remember something. Any interest you pay on this IRA to that person with the IRA is tax deductible. So you don't get the tax deduction in here because it's an IRA, because it moves. Everything inside this IRA is tax deferred. There's no tax deductions. On this side, you now get the tax deduction for the interest and any other losses that you may have. Here's another thing. This property value keeps going up. Now, it could go up inside the IRA or outside the IRA. That's okay. But eventually, you might want to borrow more money out of this house, which you can do. You can borrow money out of this house if the house goes up to, let's say $450,000, and you want to borrow another $100,000 out of this house, you can do that. And guess what happens when you borrow that money? This money comes to you tax-free because it's a loan, not a cash out. Now, by now your head is probably spinning, and I'm going to tell you the greatest thing ever is if you keep this house forever and you keep getting rent on that house and it keeps paying that other person's IRA, that other person is getting excited, you've lent this money out, your IRA keeps building, your portfolio keeps building outside the IRA, and you can do anything you want with this house. You're not limited to what you can do inside the IRA. You can now sell this house to a family member if you want to, because it's not inside your IRA. If it was inside your IRA, you can't sell it to a family member. You can't even live in it. This house, you want to live in it, you're allowed to live in it. You have all the freedoms of having the house outside the IRA, and you use the same money. But here's the interesting part. This thing is building, remember? And let's just make it easy. It's building 8% a year. I realize it's actually a compound formula to figure out how much this is building, but it doesn't really matter. This is building 8% a year, and this one, on average, houses go up 5% a year. So every year, this is going up 5%. So you have two assets working together to build your wealth. And it was the same amount of money. What did you do? You used the same $300,000. You got to use it twice. These are some of the things we teach in Investor Schooling. If you want to learn more, go to investorschooling.com. I'm Larry Steinhaus. See you next time.